Coming up on this episode of Bro, Do You Even Talk Pinball? We have the pleasure of interviewing the creator of the new Rick and Morty pinball machine, Scott Danesi.
We're going to talk about the brand new Stranger Things pinball machine that got released from Stern Pinball, some code updates. We're going to talk about Punny Factory.
All that and more coming right up.
Double super jackpot!
I need a ramp. I need a loop. I want targets I can hit. I need the scoop. I need a double super jackpot in my life. That's right.
And now, the Hall & Oates of pinball podcasting, Nick Lane and Kevin Manny of Buffalo Pinball. Whoa, boom shakalaka.
What's up, pinball players? Welcome. Yeah.
What's up, pinball
That's
players?
right.
I nailed it.
I'm back. I'm back. Thanks to Rudy for taking the helm. It was nice of him to jump in last
He really
month.
stepped in. I really wanted the Nick and Rudy dynamic to go down, but we'll have to do that another time.
I don't think you can have two divas in one podcast, so.
We're going to find out someday.
Well, listen, I love doing the podcast, so it sucked missing it. I hate being sick, but what are you going to do?
That's life.
Anyways, it is Thursday, January 23rd, and Happy New Year to everybody. We're past the point where I think you wish people Happy New Year, but I'm going to do it.
It's the first podcast of the new year, so I think
That's right.
It's fair.
That's right.
It's almost 4 years of doing the podcast. I figured that out.
We started in 2016.
2016
Yeah.
February, so next month will be our 4-year anniversary.
Well, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Is that 5?
It's
Math?
4. It's 4.
All right. Well, I've embarrassed myself already. What's next, Kevin?
What's next? What are we doing next? We're doing partners.
That's right. Top Gunner says 3 days per Larry David. 3 days you have to wish people a Happy New Year, then cut the crap. All right. Partners, thanks. First of all, let's kick it off with this year's premier partner, Pin Stadium. Pin Stadium makes LED lighting kits for your pinball machines that are controlled via an app with iOS, Android. Sorry, Windows Phone users, you're out of luck. But listen, a lot of games coming out these days. My God, even though they have awesome LEDs, they're going to need some Pin Stadiums on them because they are dark as all heck, especially if you're like me and you like to play in a darkened room. Shout out to our other partners, Double Danger Pinball, where you can get our pinball swag, ddpinball.com, along with a lot of other goodies. Scott, as you'll see, is wearing a hat, and so is Kevin. There you go. The Mod Couple, themodcouplepinball.com, maker of some wonderful mods for your pinball machine, as the name implies. I actually bought some, and I'm not even a mod person.
And you installed them.
Yes,
That's the
not
impressive
the
part.
Kraken.
Not yet.
I haven't figured out where to tape that one down. This is a
You
level.
can inspect mine while you're here.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. All right, flipping out pinball. Zach Meny. This is where you go to purchase your pinball machines. Zach sells pretty much just about any manufacturer these days. I don't think about home pin, but pretty much anything. All the good ones worth buying. And then Pinside.com. We love Pinside.com. Pinside.com is the gateway to your pinball drug. Forums, buy, sell, complain, rant, rave, rate, all of it. It is the hub, the nexus of pinball. Jersey Jack, maker of the most beautiful pinball machines on the planet. Wizard of Oz, Dialed In, Hobbit, Wonka,
And the best.
Pirates of the Caribbean. The best 10 out of 10
Yep.
game. All right. Pinball EDU. Go to pinballraffle.org, and not only can you support charity, but you can pay $40 and have a chance to win a pinball machine just about every month.
There you go.
1 in 250 chance. Who doesn't like that? Community Beer Works just got their third pinball machine that we delivered, so we're getting back in business there.
Yeah, I like it.
They are a brewery in Buffalo, and if you're visiting, definitely check them out. I love their consistently good beers. Comet Pinball, they make LEDs,
They do.
and they got a new shirt too.
And I just put a whole bunch of their LEDs in my Doctor Who, and we're going to play it next
Yeah.
week, and it's going to look amazing.
That's right. I'm looking forward to that. Pinballmix.com. Pinball Mix will take your pinball machine, and you can send, well, he's not going to take your pinball machine away from you. You send him some mixes. You send him a custom soundtrack. He's going to piece it together, and you can put it in your pinball machine. So if you got a pinball machine and you're like, the music's all right, but I would love to be hearing my own soundtrack, well, as your Pinball Mix steps in. By the way, a lot of these folks have a coupon code If you type in Buffalo, you'll get anywhere from 10 to 15% off. It's going to be a surprise, so just do it and see what happens. And then last but not least, Titan Pinball, TitanPinball.com, maker of competition silicone rings. And I highly, highly, highly recommend their anti-fatigue mat. It is expensive, not going to lie, but it's one of the best pinball purchases I've ever made.
It's amazing.
All right.
We got somebody new to talk about, too.
That's right. So we've got a brand new pinball festival event convention coming up. It's called Pin Brew Fest. So Pin Brew, head on over to pinbrewfest.com. I'm going to keep this simple, guys. I'm going to read the description from the website so I do this justice, okay? So Pin Brew is a 3-day fun-filled event with the emphasis on pinball. And I think beer's going to make an appearance. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Come join us at the show, and for the price of the ticket, you will be able to enjoy a full day or all 3 days playing over 100 pinball machines, new and old. By the way, I like to interject here and there. I understand that they're going to have a Rick and Morty and free play there. So there you go. You're going to be able to play that in just a couple months there. We will have a selection of arcade games there that you may have played in younger days as well. Our show combines the fun of games with great craft beers. I like that. Good. See? Pinball and beer. We always say that's good. And local foods. Each day we will have different breweries set up, giving you the opportunity to try a variety of their best brews. So over 100 pinball machines, 3 days of fun. Rick and Morty is going to be there, the pinball machine, and brews, craft beer. It sounds like a winning combination to me. I regret to say that I don't think I can make it out there this year. I wanted to check it out because it's actually reasonably close for us. It's in Ohio.
Northeast Ohio, yeah.
Northeast Ohio. What's the actual city? It's Girard, Ohio. All right, which is it's striking distance.
Okay.
Maybe I'll see if I can pull some strings. I've got a lot going on in my life, but we'll see.
There you go.
But definitely check it out. Head over to pinbrewfest.com.
Excellent. So without further ado, let's welcome aboard our special guest for the day, Scott Danesi. He's a musician, he's a programmer, he's an engineer at Pinball Life. He's a Rush the Rock owner, and he's a spooky pinball machine designer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Scott Danesi.
Hello.
What's up?
Oh, hey, look at that.
Boom. There you are.
I'm on the TV.
You are. I pushed the button, and there you are. It's like magic. Skip
How are
Daddy
you
says
guys?
you're a good hugger, too.
I'm a good hugger. Yeah, you know what? He just looked like a good hugger. So actually, at Pinburg, I think 2 years ago, I was like, hey, come in here.
Bring
let's
it
try
in,
this
Skip
out.
Daddy. That's right. Awesome. So welcome and congratulations on the one-day sellout of Rick and Morty.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Dude, that was amazing.
That was super weird, actually, when that happened. I did not expect that at all. I was thinking it would sell out quick on that, but not in like 4 hours or whatever it was. You guys who are Rick and Morty fans and also pinball fans are absolutely insane. That's crazy.
It's true. We are. I mean, we fill our houses with these things and build rooms for them and all. It's nuts.
I don't even think they showed like nothing of the game and people bought it. That's crazy.
It had the magic combination of Scott Danesi as designer and the Rick and Morty theme. What more do people were like? Yes, I'm buying it.
I appreciate the thing. Or I appreciate the the faith on that. But dang, man, it's probably the theme mostly. But it's.
But you guys are smart. Because it's a theme that's a little niche. Not like, I know like a company like Stern, they want like this huge name that everybody knows, but there is power in building niche games and doing niche themes, especially with Spooky's model of selling only a set amount of games, which demonstrated selling that much. There's obviously demand for it. So I'm glad that a company like Spooky exists because I'm a huge Rick and Morty fan, and then hopefully I'll get in the secondary market one day.
That's right.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Yeah, so am I. I mean, when Charlie told me a long time ago, it was probably about 2 years ago, he told me that theme was a possibility for me. At first, I'm just kind of like, at first he's like, hey, what are you working on? A new game for me or what? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, what if we get you Rick and Morty? And I'm like, well, I'm working on something, I guess. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that was one of my questions. I was like, is this a theme that you took to Spooky, or was this something that they had and were like, here, we have this theme for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a dream theme of mine for a pinball machine. But I didn't specifically go to Charlie and say, hey, go get this. It was something that he said, this could be a possibility for you. And I was like, dude, I'm floored by that. Let's do it. Like, try and get it and tell me if you can get it,
That's awesome.
So, it was unreal when he told me that they actually got it and I was able to make it. So
did you think you'd ever design another game after Total Nuclear Annihilation, or were you like, done?
I went around telling everyone that I wasn't going to do it again because it was too stressful, and and that I did my thing and I was done. But then, that most of that ended up just being BS, I guess, because they threw the Rick and Morty license at me and it changed my mind completely. So
what when you say it's stressful, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, so picture what I'm doing right now. So I work full time for Pinball Life, right? That's 40 hours a week minimum, right? That I work there doing non-pinball design things, right? And then I have to go home and work on, another X amount of hours per day, just working on designing a game, building a game, prototyping stuff, doing all this junk. And with TNA, I did everything on that stupid game. I mean, I did like all the audio, the sound, the programming, the design. I built the prototype. I did all sorts of ridiculous crap on it. But so that like really stressed me out because I was working too much. And I was like, I can't keep this up. I just want to have a day job and be able to come home and do nothing.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. That's impressive.
Yeah. But it got overwhelming, so that's why I got stressed out. So on this project, I said, Charlie, if I'm going to do this, I need a team of people. And he says, great. Who do you want to be on that team? I said, I need Eric as a programmer. We need Bowen to help out with the rules and stuff. I've got Jimmy and my friend Chris doing the operating system and the computer work. We've got David Van Ness doing all the animations. And so basically, I just need to do the design, get it flipping in Whitewood State, get it over to Charlie, and just make sure that I'm paying attention for the rest of the project and helping out here and there. I originally was not going to do sound for it, but the sound was kind of like, it was something that just needed to get done, and it wasn't really like the licensor was like they had certain things to give us, but nothing really like pinball-y, So I ended up just stepping in and doing that. And then I don't know how I got sucked into it again, but I did the light shows as well. So yeah, I think the game as it sits right now is it's pretty exciting. So
yeah, can you so this time you just focus on the playfield layout and the design, and then obviously some sound. But can you take us through the process of how you actually design the physicality of a pinball machine?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So for me, what I do is I will go into I'll go into my little book. I've got a little book of like little mechanical design things that I think about, and I'll find something that sort of fits what I'm trying to go for. Which in this case, I started with with that locking mechanism. So that mechanism itself was already just drawn in a notebook. So I built it all out in SolidWorks which is a 3D application. I built that all out in the computer, and then once I had that, I started building everything else around it. And for Rick and Morty, if you can see, I see you're pulling up some pictures as well. I wanted to do, because I really love those old school games, as you know, with like TNA. That's just a really great layout for me. I really like all that old school, like really flat, flowy stuff. But I wanted to do a modern take on some of that retro stuff, so I started adding in ramps and started adding in more mechanisms and doing other cool things. But you'll still see stylings of like old retro stuff, like quick turnarounds and loops and really difficult shots. So
when
cool.
This made me this came to mind. So this is not design or pinball layout question, but when I saw the art for this, it reminded me of Time Machine. Was that on purpose, or is that just a happy accident?
No, it was totally a happy accident. And I didn't even notice it until someone pointed it out to me. They go, they look at the back glass and they're like, hey, that looks like the Data East Time Machine back glass. I'm like, what are you talking about? I pulled it up. I'm like, holy crap, it kind of does. It's like, I think it's opposite though, right? I think it's like mirrored, because I think the ship is flying one way or something and the ship is flying the opposite way. I don't remember.
Yeah, I used to own one. It's possible. I mean, the back glass reminded me immediately, and then even the art on the playfield, because there's a lot of like kind of space and stuff. Even the art on the top half of the playfield reminded me of it as well. That's funny.
And it was absolutely a happy accident because all of this art was done by the artist from Cartoon Network.
Okay.
So this was So like we had just some art direction stuff that we did. And then the rest of it was his call, and he did some really cool stuff. Like the cabinet, that turned out just amazing.
Yeah.
So you can see the that side of the cabinet there. He did all that art, so it's just it's all stuff that he hand drew. So
that's awesome. You couldn't want any more from a animated series, right?
Like,
that's what you want. You want the actual
it.
artist that draws the characters, do the cabinet
exactly.
art.
And you can't be like, oh, that art's like, it looks a little off or something. You're like, no, that's the dude that like does the artwork for Cartoon Network. Like, that's the guy.
It's the ultimate comeback when Pinside comes at you. You're like, that's the guy. Sorry if you don't like it.
That's the guy. Like, what are you gonna do? Yeah.
Exactly.
So what am I gonna do? Tell him he's wrong? No, he's not. Like,
It's a show.
Yeah.
So
So
good.
it's pretty awesome. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I have no complaints whatsoever on that.
Yeah, it looks amazing. So, talk to us about the team. Like, how is it different working with a team on this game versus TNA doing it almost all yourself, right? Because it's nice to have a team, but it also brings challenges of its own too, right?
It absolutely does, yeah, because I have to constantly be in contact with people, because I had certain visions for this game, right? So like certain things we're supposed to do we're supposed to behave a certain way, and it doesn't. You have to actually talk to people. Like I'm talking to Eric about certain programming aspects, like how the lock mechanism should work, right? And how I had it visioned in my head. And also there's something key in this game too, is there's a virtual orbit on the right orbit, because that right orbit, if you shoot that shot, it loops around, and if the diverter is open, it will go into the garage from the side. So it goes into the side of the house and then into the garage portal. And since there's a staged ball in that portal, it'll fly around there, and as soon as it hits that portal, it kicks it out of that left trough there and right to the flipper like it would with any other orbit. And we got that timing down just right, so it feels good,
Yeah, that's crazy. That's one of those things like you're telling me what it does, but I'm like, I need to see it in action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit difficult. So there's actually a diverter back there, like that picture that you have up on the screen there. You can see. So if you shoot the right orbit, there's a diverter that will either let it go through all the way to the house and into the garage, or it will bring it back around and put it through the inner loop, and it'll end up at the upper flipper.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So like sort of Jurassic Park has a similar shot, right, where it doesn't have a diverter, but it loops around and it shoots it at the upper flipper when you shoot it on the right side there.
Yep.
So so it's like very similar to that if the diverter's closed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
talk us through the concept of the game. Like, what are your goals as a player, and were there specific elements of the show that you wanted to incorporate into the gameplay?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So just like real high level, because I could go we could talk about this forever, and you should get Bowen on here to actually talk deep into the rules, because he's like crazy with it. But just high level, you are Morty, and Rick is in the pinball machine yelling at you and like making fun of you and stuff. And he's kind of like instructing you what to do, and you guys go on adventures together, which adventures are like regular pinball modes, right? So you start a mode, you have a specific set of objectives that you have to do, things like the music changes, the lighting could change. But then there's also this concept of dimensions that go on top of the adventures, right? So you could be in an adventure in any number of dimensions, right? So you charge up your portal gun, which is by hitting the spinner, and the spinner will actually like charge that thing up on the playfield. There's dedicated lights for that. When that thing gets full, you can shoot the portal will open in the garage, which will light up green and flash and stuff. And then you shoot it into there. You travel to a new dimension. That dimension does stuff to the machine itself, right? So that makes the machine act differently, whether it's just swapping up the music, whether it's making things worth more, maybe it's making things worth less, maybe it's deactivating playfield features. Maybe it's doing something weird, like the diverter's locked on all the time. So, like, in order to get out of the dimension, you have to actually shoot the shot to like off the upper flipper up through and into the front of the garage. There's just a number of different things that happen, but it's all stackable, and so it makes a different gameplay every single time you play, so you don't get bored of it. So that's like high level, like how that sort of works, right? So you are Morty, and it's really funny too, because when you have multiple players, there's little call-outs in there. They're like, ooh, another Morty, great. And then like sometimes it's like, they're like 3 Mortys, that's better than 2, like, and it's Morty's voice. Like it's like super ridiculous. Something else cool in this game that has nothing to do with gameplay, and it has nothing to do with scoring, is that when you the game and press start, you get assigned a Morty, right? So your little face, there's an icon on there representing you as player 1. It can be a ghost Morty, it can be a baby Morty, it can be like, the the Death Crystal Morty, where he's got the Death Crystal smashed into his forehead. If you guys haven't seen season 4, I apologize. Yep. There's just a ton of Mortys in there. I'm pushing for some secret Mortys as well, but we're gonna keep adding to that over time. But it just assigns you a random one, and it has nothing to do with anything. But that Morty icon will follow you around. So if you get a high score and you put your name in, it has that icon right next to your initials, so you remember what Morty you were when you put that high score down.
Nice.
Awesome.
What has been the level of involvement / engagement from the creators of Rick and Morty, Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland?
So Justin has done a ton of different vocal calls for us. When Cartoon Network came out to look at the machine, they were like on a video chat with him and stuff, and they were like showing him things, and he's just getting excited and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's Cartoon Network doing a lot of the approvals. But Justin has done so much vocal work for us that he's had to it's really awesome because he's had to spread it among multiple days because his voice just gets completely shot because he's working on this so long. There's so much stuff in there that's just really fun. That's basically it, really. I mean, he's really excited about it, though, which is really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So we got a question from a fellow podcaster, Taylor Reese from this Flippin' Podcast. He says, can you talk us through what a solid first ball would be like on this game?
Like a solid first ball, like on a good game.
Yeah. You step up to the game, you're like, I want to at least get this done on ball 1, ideally.
Oh, like on ball 1. Okay. So, what you can do is I always try to start adventures. But there's a key thing to winning. Like if I want to actually beat somebody at this game, I have to travel to a different dimension and I have to get mega seeds. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show too much, but in the first episode, they were in a different dimension collecting mega seeds, and Morty had to shove them up his ass, that sort of thing. And what you need to do in this game is you get 0 bonus if you have 0 mega seeds, zero, like nothing. Okay, and the mega seeds get more and more valuable as your score goes up because they are something like, I think they're like 2% of your score or something like that. We keep changing it. We're trying to score balance right now, but it's a low percentage of your score per mega seed. So at the end of each ball, you get that as a bonus, and it's absolutely awesome because you have to travel to dimensions, which dimensions are not always good. Some dimensions are bad where they're shutting off playfield features, as I said earlier, but some of them make things worth less. But you get 3 mega seeds thrown out onto the playfield somewhere random if you travel to a new dimension, and you can collect those. So that's what I would do, honestly. But then I would start going to the adventures where the points are. So then your mega seeds that you collected on ball 1 are following you around, and you're getting more points. They're becoming more valuable throughout the rest of your 3 balls, actually. So it's pretty crazy.
Are the adventures themselves, are they open-ended in terms of which ones you can start, or is it a linear type of game?
It's not linear at all. It's actually random.
Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't allow you to pick an adventure. And right now it's there's that Morty adventure card on the playfield. If you fill in 10 adventures, then you get to pick your own adventure, and it's kind of like a little wizard mode thing.
Okay.
Right? So that is ultimately what's going to happen, but it is random. I mean, like Morty in the show has no idea what the hell Rick is doing, right? Rick's like, Morty, come with me to the garage. He's like, we're going. Like he just grabs them and they go. Like he's like, I don't wanna, I don't know, So that's part of that. The dimensions are also random. There's no way to select them, but the dimensions have they have levels to them where the first time you start a dimension, it's not so bad. It's not one of the real bad ones or the real good ones. Like you have to kind of work your way up to the different levels, and the further you get in the dimensions, the crazier they can be. I know there's one that's kind of far down. It's the strobe dimension. So I don't know if you've ever played AFM in the complete dark with when they have when they have strobe multi-ball going. But we're emulating something similar to that, where it really distracts you. So you're like, holy crap, I got to charge the portal gun and get the hell out of here. Like just get out of there, get out of that dimension, or because your mega seeds will actually stay there and you can grab them. So it's pretty crazy. I don't know, man. So ultimately, to answer the question, get mega seeds and then start working on your adventures. So at least get to one dimension.
Okay.
So
Go for it.
I'm seeing some questions in the chat. We'll try. We can't get to everyone. We'll try to get to some of them. So let's see. Senior Gonzo says, Scott, you going to have any of the hilarious songs from the show?
Yes. I'm going to leave that as just a yes.
Perfect. Next question.
Easy question. Yes, no questions all night.
Grand National says, Scott, will there be future code updates that incorporate new stories, characters from future seasons of this show? I'm going to say no, but go ahead.
The answer is, unfortunately, it's yes. It's yes to that.
Wow.
Okay, so
look at that diversion.
The reason
there.
it's
Wow.
yes is so, but keep in mind though, this is for major stuff. Like, so if something happens where space snakes become some kind of like super crazy like meme thing, right? Cartoon Network will allow us to use that stuff, and they should be giving us assets for things like that to put in the future code updates. So then if there are things like little bugs or something we have to fix, we can also just, spice it up a little bit by throwing an extra, adventure in there or an extra dimension or something. So it's pretty cool. So we've already been talking about that, and that is something we're planning on doing.
That's awesome.
So,
is it going to be paid DLC?
No, God damn it.
We talked about that last month.
What an awful idea that is.
But they're going to be loot boxes, though, right?
Right. Some in-game currency, so you can pay to win.
It'd be so easy to put loot boxes because you get the dollar bill. Just, open up some loot boxes for the game.
Put it right in the game.
An extra dollar and you get an extra dimension. You can pick your own adventure if you put extra, like $5 in the thing.
That's right. Exactly. Take you right to the wizard mode.
Yeah.
Why hasn't anybody done that yet? You patent that. All right. So we talked about code and rules. What's your favorite mechanical feature on the game?
Oh my God. Okay. So the three main mechanical features on this game that I think are the coolest, I'm going to start with three, and then I'm going to try and pick one.
Okay.
So the first one is that virtual orbit. So I have the stage ball. There's actually, in that picture that you pulled up there, there is that kick out on the left side. I know it's nothing new to stage a ball in a scoop, but that is a full out trough, guys. Like that's like I've re-engineered an actual trough so that you can just throw balls in there during multi-ball and it can get crazy, and that thing knows exactly what's going on. It can kick a ball out, and right to your flipper, which is really fun. But that one probably the least because it's been done before. Like Earthshaker had a stage ball and a vertical up kicker that dropped it to the right flipper. Nothing crazy, right? Other games too probably that I'm missing. So check this out. The next one on here is that thing we call the Flubel crank, where everyone was like the first pictures came out and people were like, "Oh, you forgot to put a rubber on that post."
Oh yeah.
Oh no, that post is supposed to be raw metal.
So just to the left of the right ramp there, right?
It's just to the left of the right ramp. Yep. So there are a lot of posts in this game, and what I was feeling was like I really wanted a way to make one of the posts score, but have that be very reliable. So what I did was I've noticed on some of the old Spanish games, like some of those really old like 80s Spanish games, they used a lot of wire forms as captive ball holders. So like you'd hit the wire form and it would bounce the ball back, and they were usually shaped, just like a U like this, and then have the ball behind it. And then, I'm making like a hand motion.
I'm showing it.
So it's like a U. So and then the ball would be behind it, and then you would knock that ball by hitting the side of the wire form. But basically what I did was I just took the wire form and rotated it 90 degrees, because that still transfers the power from that post up and over the plastic and then down back to the ball that's captive and behind it.
It's crazy because it doesn't even look like there's a captive ball back there when you look at it. It doesn't,
but there's a flasher back there too. So when you hit it, it like goes and it like lights up, and you can see the ball back there, and it really makes it stand out.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's just a cool little mechanical thing that's like, it's a little bit of it's just a captive ball, but it's like remote. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not right there in your face. And also, some people were asking me too about the damage caused by that post. Well, that post is actually screwed into the playfield, into a recessed area of the playfield where the clear coat is not anywhere near it. And it's secured on both sides of the playfield, so it's holding tight. And the actual post itself, or that wire form, is made out of stainless steel, which is actually harder than a pinball. So that post is not going to wear out. That post will destroy a pinball before it wears through.
Boom.
So, yeah.
You thought that one
it should
through.
be good. We've hit it a crap ton of times. So, and there's just no damage to it. So it's holding up really well.
All right. You said 3, and that's 2.
I know. I'm working up to the one I think is my favorite, and it's got to be that U-turn locking mechanism. I know people are like, they're like, oh yeah, it's got to be that thing, but it's such a simple mechanism when you look at it. It's made from off-the-shelf parts, right? So it's got let's see how many optos. It's got 5 sets of optos in it.
Wow.
Which sounds crazy. There's 2 optos behind each drop target. So there's 4. So there's 4 optos there, and there's 1 long-range opto in the front. You can see it on the picture that's up on the screen right now. That long-range opto in the front is to give the mechanism time. So when the incoming ball is coming full freaking speed into it, that gives it a heads up, like, hey, here it comes. Like, better do something. Like if it has to make a decision, a ball can be faster than these mechanisms. So with that opto there, it's really reliable. But it's basically a bent piece of metal, 2 drop targets, an up post, and some optos.
There you go.
It's I mean, there's really nothing to it. We also went for the clear drop targets as well. We had those custom manufactured just for this game. They're made out of a polycarbonate, so they're extremely strong.
That's so that was one of the things that stood out when Spooky showed some of the first video. It's like, oh wow, it's like plays right into the light show. Everybody knows the TNA light shows, and this had some similar ambiance to it, but with the added benefit of that.
I can't even walk in that building over there because every single person is like, they're like glaring at me. They're like, damn, Scott and his fucking $1,000 worth of LEDs he put in this game. Damn, Scott and his like 16 sets of optos that are controlling everything. F this guy. Like, they don't like me over there, man. I have to be careful. I have to like bring donuts like every time I show up in that building, just like so I don't have to fear for my life.
Donuts and a couple more LEDs in the box too.
I know, and it was so bad because I didn't have in the Whitewood, I didn't have lights behind the drop targets to light, so like individually controlled drop target lights, and then I said, oh, we need to put those in, and like they're just like, oh my god, like, are you goddamn serious? And I'm like, yes. So let's put those in there. So those are individually controlled RGB, so we can turn those like, we can turn those things any color, anytime. They are all integrated in the light show. It's crazy.
That's awesome. So one of the most popular software features on TNA was the co-op mode. Are you going to do something similar or something totally new in Rick and Morty along those lines, or what do you got planned?
Well, what we're going to do is we're not going to put co-op mode out in the first initial run of software, just because we're working on a bunch of other things at the moment, because co-op stuff can be added later, and I want to play the game a little more, and I want to watch what people do on the game to decide whether co-op mode actually makes sense in this game. Co-op mode is great, right? I really love co-op mode, but it does have to make sense in a game, and we want to make sure it absolutely does. We don't want to just add it just for the sake of adding it. Does that make sense? Yeah, for sure. But we could always come up with something else that's really cool. If it's not a co-op mode that like the typical co-op mode for TNA, I could see us putting in a 2v2 co-op mode, because that's always fun, no matter what, right? But the whole like all 4 players working together to go through dimensions and stuff do adventures and stuff doesn't really make sense in my mind yet. But I want to see what people do when they start playing this thing.
Sure, it makes sense. So
yeah, but it can always be added later. But we're not planning on putting it in at first. We're gonna give updates and do cool things later on as well. People do like code updates, even though they, as long as the code that you give them in the pinball machine when they buy it isn't just complete stripped down nothing. People like code updates. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, it gives you a little some new life to your game after you've had it for a little bit.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of fun to explore things too. Like if we throw a new dimension in or a new adventure, it's all of a sudden just randomly going to show up one day, like when someone's playing, right? And they're going to just be really excited. Oh my God, there's this brand new like thing that's happening,
Exactly. Steve Daniels cool. With the 100 bits for your dog back there, going ham on that bone.
Oh, really?
Who is that? Who's your dog?
Yeah. That's my dog, Monica. That's one of them.
That's amazing.
That is, she's a beagle of some sort.
she's having a good time.
Yeah, she is. She's really having a good time. I gave them those bones so they would shut the hell up when I'm doing the interviews, and they wouldn't be barking and stuff. And I think it's working.
It seems to be working, and she's providing some additional entertainment here for people who are watching.
Absolutely.
So, how do you see this game stacking up for a tournament game?
Tournament game is going to stack up really well because Bowen's making sure there's no exploits. Like, he's really crazy about that. You know, when TNA was like brand new, there were a bunch of exploits in it like early on, and Bowen was playing it. He wasn't even working for Spooky Pinball at that point, and he sent me a list of things. Like, he's just like, hey Scott, you know, X, Y, and Z you probably should look at because, you know, a tournament player could easily exploit this and that, you know. And he went through it in detail, and we were able to knock out like every exploit. The only exploit we weren't able to knock out yet is the one where Skip Natty short plunges to the right flipper all the time, and then just backhands it no lock. So I think I'm gonna have to do something about that, like making the lock not qualifiable until you actually go around the loop, like
shoot.
go around an orbit.
Skip Natty exploit.
He ruined it.
He ruined it for everybody, you guys.
Calling him out in chat. I love it.
I'm gonna. Yeah, he's not even responding in there yet. So
No, he's
we'll
off playing Rocket League or something probably.
Yeah.
So, where is the game at with production? When do you expect the first games to start shipping?
They've got a bunch of them almost built. I think we're waiting on some things in software, waiting on some approval stuff, and then I think it's ready to go in boxes. So
awesome.
Yeah,
that's what everybody wants to know, right?
I know.
When am I getting my game?
I don't know any timelines or anything because luckily, like, I am not exposed to Spooky's manufacturing process. Like, I don't have to worry about that. I don't really need to know about it. It's great. So that I can focus on, you know, doing my sound stuff and trying to get in as much as I can before they actually pack one up. So
what do you think that you've learned from designing TNA? Just talking about the layout standpoint and designing the pinball machine, none of the other stuff. What do you think you've learned from that experience that you brought to Rick and Morty?
It's probably the fact that, and I knew this already when I made TNA, but I also used this when I actually started designing Rick and Morty, is that you can always make a pinball machine easier with software. You cannot make it harder with software. So if you design a physical game that is too easy, you will not really be able to keep a player from playing for 45 minutes, right? And you want to avoid that. So what I do is I always err on the side of designing a hard game and then putting in things like ball saves and other things to make the game easier for the player so that we can balance ball times. So, you know, you end up like, I'm not talking down to this at all, but like Lord of the Rings, right? It's a great game, but it's an easy layout to the point where people can play that for 45 minutes, right? And that's not a software problem. That's actually just the physical playfield, right? So it's just very hard to actually make it harder. Like, you can't just be like, okay, well, I'm going to kill your flippers now. You've been playing too long. Like, you can't do that. You know, the outlanes can't open up by themselves, right? It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I don't think I've thought of it in that sense. You know, there are games that are too easy, and I shy away from a game that I can play for 45 minutes unless it maybe rules wise, you can have a lot of depth to it that makes you want to dig into it and it can work in a home environment, but certainly on location, that's a problem.
Location, that's a big problem. And that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid. I want Rick and Morty to be something that goes on location that operators are proud to have there and that earns them money, as well as keeping the home owners just, really into it. You know what I mean? So the outlanes and all the games they're always adjustable, and ball saves are adjustable. So, we can, the homeowner can make it pretty easy for themselves to explore more of the software. But, I'm trying to get a good balance there, and that's really difficult to do.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask this. So I'm really curious, like the time frame. So from the time that you start designing the machine to when you're signed off that, okay, this is it, it's done, in terms of just the physical design, how long is that process?
It's about 2 years.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, and remember, I'm working part-time on this. This is not my full-time job.
Yeah.
So if in 2 years from now I have another game coming out, you can look back in time and say, oh, Scott was working on it like as we were talking, so.
Well, I mean,
Just remember the date.
I'm a fan of a game coming out and being distinct and unique. Or at least there's something. It can look somewhat like another game. You can see elements, but there's still something distinct and unique about it, right? And I see that in your games, and I appreciate that. Even when a game comes out, if somebody makes a game that is unique but just doesn't work, I still can appreciate that about a game. I've been thinking lately, like, and listen, you can. I understand if you want to take a pass at answering this, but I'm trying to tap into somebody who's designed a pinball machine to help shed some light on this. So. I've seen Stern put out some pinball machines that look like a copy and paste from other games. It's like, my God, look at this game looks like that. Or like Stranger Things looks very basic and like maybe AFM or something like that. And my question is, how much, like, did they do that in the morning or afternoon? Like, or as a designer, can you see things in those games where like, yeah, maybe I can't notice it or the average pinball player doesn't notice it, but there's a lot of little things that just take forever to dial in and adjust. Like, are we missing something when we look at that kind of copy and paste? Or
Well, it's not a copy and paste. So if you look at something, a good example of it is what John Borg does, where he has specific sets of things that he uses, and he moves them around and does different things with them. He's not like copying his own thing, right? If you look at like something, let's see, like Metallica and Guardians of the Galaxy, people say look alike, right? Because the shots are sort of similar in the sort of same place.
And in Iron Man, I would throw that in. I mean, he's got like 3 games
Iron
that
Man's
very similar
to that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can tell like he's got his style that he likes to go with, and he's got his like little sections that he likes to use, right? So you just see things that are similar, and then you get a lot of pinball designers too that just start over from scratch every single time. Like what I did with TNA and Rick and Morty is I just started with a blank slate. Like I started with 0, right? So that's why it looks so different than what TNA is. I wanted to go for something that was, like on TNA the shots are really close, right? And a lot of people don't like that. So at this time I was like, okay, well, let's open that up all the way. So these shots are actually very far away, and there are a bunch of them. And I added ramps and did all sorts of other stuff. But I think that people don't know what it actually takes to get a pinball machine dialed in. So when I take a look at something that Stern puts out that people say looks the same, there's a lot of little things that are totally different about it that they spent a ton of time working on. So it's not, I think what you're seeing is design elements like things that the designer wants to make their trademark style, right? So Brian Eddy, right? So his fan layouts, right? That's his like signature thing, and he's trying to stay in those boundaries so people recognize it, right?
No, and I appreciate that. I mean, there's something to be said about accessibility too. Like I don't doubt that these layouts are familiar to a lot of pinball players, and they like that familiarity, and they know it's going to work. And Stern's got to sell a lot of machines in large quantities, so let's play it safe, right? We don't want to take a chance on this really unique layout that could just really alienate our customers, and it just won't do well.
Absolutely, but they did though with Iron Maiden, so that is awesome.
And they were rewarded for it, and it worked out.
Absolutely, they did. Yes.
Ghostbusters sold well too. I mean, Ghostbuster is more unique than most, I would say.
It is.
So.
Well, that's something that that's something John Trudeau used to do. His designs were wacky. They were all over the place.
Yeah.
So
and that's what Elwin is doing now too. He's bringing these interesting new layouts. Like I've been playing Jurassic Park like crazy. I love that game.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I want to be able, and like I think the new designers like Eric and Keith and myself are trying to do things that are different because that's what we like to see, right? We don't want to see the same style over and over again. I want someone to be able to look at my machines, like if you had them lined up side by side and go and just look at them and be like, those are completely different. Like I don't even so someone who didn't know that I made them would think that a different designer did it. Like that's kind of where I'm going with it. And I think Keith and Eric have the same sort of mentality on that.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I find interesting from a player and collector. I don't want my lineup in my house to just be like, I just played this machine. Yeah, granted it feels a little different. There's different shots you have to hit, but after a while, especially the price on these machines, I got to have something that justifies that being different or a different experience.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So when are we going to see gameplay video of Rick and Morty?
All right, so gameplay video. So I actually don't know what the real plan is for the gameplay video. But Charlie wants to have the software as close as possible to what people are actually going to be getting in the machine, because we're actively working on trying to slam as much as we can into it as fast as we can. So I'm not sure what the plan is for that. We're still waiting on little things like there's little approvals here and there. And then, just going through and making sure that it's stable and, normal stuff.
Yeah,
so,
it makes sense too, because what you show people, that's everybody's gonna react to it. So you want it to be.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh my god, there was a light show that locked up like in the middle of the thing. That's like, that would be devastating. Oh, Scott's light shows are shit now. Like that, it must be crap. No, that was just me making a mistake. It's fine.
There's a lot that goes into it. Like, how many hours do you think of programming goes into a pinball machine?
I don't even know, and I don't want to know. It's insane, though.
Yeah, because I think about so many variables that, like, I'm not.
It's crazy. Right? Well, you have to program for any number of things to happen. Like, anything can happen at any time. I'll tell you what. Like, imagine this. Imagine, so you're programming a pinball machine, right? And you have a ball ending, right? Let's just pretend like the trough switch broke, right? And it thought the ball ended and it starts counting your bonus down, but there's still a ball on the play field and it hits a slingshot switch, right? The whole thing thinks it's in bonus and it thinks the ball is in the trough, and then a slingshot switch goes off. It has to know, like, oh shit, like I have to deal with this now, like, and not crash. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff that has to happen, like glitchy switch compensation. There's like, just someone puts too many balls in the game, like how you have to deal with that, like, and make it not screw up. It's crazy. Like, there's just such weird stuff. And pinball programming is crazy too. Listen to this. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with actual programming, but I've explained this to people when I was talking about TNA, because I did all that programming myself. In normal programming, you say, let's just say, like, you have a variable called A, right? And you set A equal to 10. Right? And you go in line, you say A equals 10, and then you say, print out A. Tell me what the variable, like what A equals. And then it just prints out 10, right? And it executes that really fast. Well, in a pinball machine, I say, kick a ball into the shooter lane. And then the next line is the ball in the shooter lane? And the answer is no, because the ball's not in the shooter lane, because there's a physical thing that happens. The computer does that in nanoseconds, right? It says, kick the ball out. Is it there? And it's not. Never. It will never be there, because the computer is so damn fast. So you have to program in a different way than you would normally program something like, a basic program on the computer, right?
Yeah. My head hurts.
Or cell phone game.
So basically, you have to integrate.
It's stupid. I'm trying to oversimplify it.
No,
but
I need that.
Hopefully that makes sense. I see
even the simply. You're just thinking about, like, I can appreciate the problem that you said, the challenge. I mean, that was a good example, and I'm just like glazing it over. I'm like, oh my god, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. That sounds.
I know, it's so crazy, and that's like what that's why I said to Charlie, I'm like, I cannot program this game. Like, first of all, I'm not a good programmer. I'm just going to come out and say that straight up. Like, I am really not good at programming, okay? I can fudge my way through TNA, but that's about it, right? But, I mean, I'm like, I wanted somebody who actually, was good at programming to help me out and actually do this. So that's where I got Eric. So, the pinball program is ridiculous. I don't know, man.
That's nuts.
You ask him how many hours he spends on it, man. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to listen when he says how many hours it is.
I can understand that. All right. So aside from pinball, you're involved in other areas of pinball at Pinball Life. Tell us a little bit about your role there, and what sort of things have you worked on there that we may be familiar with?
Excellent. All right. So I mentioned this on a different podcast, but they were asking me what my day-to-day job was, and like what I felt was my biggest contribution to pinball. And honestly, it's what I do on my day-to-day job. I make reproduction pinball parts for the games that you guys have in your houses that are breaking down and, that just need to be tuned up every once in a while. I engineer those parts, and at Pinball Life, we go and manufacture those parts. So if you need like a Williams flipper assembly for an old, like a Medieval Madness, or even like a really old game like a Flash or something, like we have that stuff because we've actually engineered that and we've redone it. We've redone it in ways that strengthen certain parts of it, because we know what parts break. It's just a lot of fun, man. So I do all that engineering over there. If you have bought something from Pinball Life that is a replacement part for your game, I most likely engineered and drew it. So it's there's a lot of my stuff everywhere. So
that's awesome. So what's the craziest thing you had to reproduce?
Oh man, let's see. The craziest thing. I've never been asked that before. Like the most complicated thing?
Yeah, most complicated.
It's probably one of the circuit boards that we redo. Like so some of the Williams circuit boards were pretty complicated. There was a for like the old Sega games, and they had a DMD controller power supply, which was pretty difficult to do. Those are fun though, but like physical things though, I don't know. The flipper mechanisms are just fun. We've got all those done already. I can't do any more of those. 3-bank drop targets we just did recently. That was fun. That was complicated. I don't know, man. It's a ton of stuff. Just look through Pinball Life and look for something complicated and be like, holy crap. I can't even think of anything crazy off the top of my head.
So how do you even go about reproducing an old part? Do you like get a new part? Do you bring an old part over and take measurements on it? Do you go from schematics? How do you do it?
It just depends what it is. So if it's like a circuit board, I'll go off the schematics, and then I'll go off of a sample. So I need both the schematics and a sample because the schematics in the Williams drawings, or in the Williams manuals, sometimes have errors in them. So I need to verify it against the physical sample. But then I'll go ahead and start working on it, and then look for obsolete components for those electronic circuits, and then source replacement parts for them, and then rebuild the actual board itself so that it just plug and plays right into the existing system. But for physical parts like a flipper assembly, I will get a physical flipper assembly that's in good enough condition where I can get good measurements off of it, and then go from there. And if I can't, I keep taking other parts and trying to find the best of the best parts to get measurements off of for manufacture. So
you got that,
it's
Nick?
fun.
Absolutely.
Nick's gonna start doing that now.
Nick's like, God, can we just mute him and set him up?
His brains.
Yeah.
So
This is boring.
There's a reason I'm not an engineer.
Exactly. Me too.
There's a reason.
So you design pinball machines, you engineer parts. You're also a musician. You're a regular Renaissance man, Scott Danesi.
I do make electronic music. Some people may or may not think that's a musician. I do consider myself a musician, but
Some
yes,
people
I do,
don't, but they're assholes.
but it's fine. It's fine. I don't care. It's fine. But yes, I do write music as well. I've put out a few albums. I've put out albums on vinyl, cassette, CD, and digital. I've not done 8-track yet, and not done Laserdisc, but it's fun. So
where can folks hear your music if they want to check it out?
They can go to I'm starting to spin up my Bandcamp page actually as the place to go to hear some of the stuff I've written. It's just scottdanesi.bandcamp.com. They can go there. Girl Geek posted a thing.
She's on it immediately.
Dude, she is on that. I saw that in the chat right there. That's awesome. So I'm going to be posting up almost all of the albums that I have that weren't illegal remixes or anything. I will post those up on Bandcamp. Also, you can go onto iTunes or Spotify or anything like that and just type my name in and stuff comes up. But I'm going to try to get everything on Bandcamp and release it a week before the actual release date for everything else, so that the people on Bandcamp can kind of get a little bit of a head start, just as a little thing. I don't know, just kind of a neat website. I just kind of like it.
Yeah, it's cool. As soon as I remember my Bandcamp login, I'm going to follow you.
Cool. All right, and I appreciate it.
So most of our audience will know your music from TNA, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Why did you change the TNA beep?
Why did I change the beep? Well,
Yeah.
I changed the beep 3 times.
But why?
No one noticed. Yeah.
Is this
No
like
one knows.
a George Lucas thing
So-
where you just can't let your creation stop? You can't stop
No,
editing it?
So the story behind the beep, you ready? Here we go. Here we go. So the first beep was when I had not finalized the music yet, and the beep itself was very harsh. And that was a beep that was at Texas Pinball Festival when I had that game, the Whitewood there. I then went and said, all right, let me put together this music, release an album that people can listen to because people really liked the music. I'm like, well, I'll just finish the songs because people don't realize that the songs and music that's in a pinball machine are just like loops, right? They're not actual full songs you can listen to. They just loop the main section, right? It doesn't have an intro, outro, or any kind of structure. So I went in, I built all that. The beep itself was originally just too harsh. And when you listen to it in like headphones, it was ear piercing. Like you couldn't sit down and listen to the track and get into it because of that just very harsh beep. But so what I did was I calmed it down a little bit and released all the music and then updated all the TNAs, right? So then people were like, oh my God, the beep went away. What the hell? And there was this whole thing like Beepgate, and I just kept laughing about it and like being funny. And then I had to switch my distribution companies for the TNA album. So I actually had to, at one point, it was last year, like third quarter last year, I think. I had to take down the TNA album from one distribution company and re-release it with another, because you can't have them both up at the same time with two distribution companies because you'll get flagged by iTunes and Spotify and they'll just like remove your stuff. So I took one down, and when I went to re-release, I also wanted to add in the song that I didn't finish yet, called Scarlet. So I added that to the album as well, and I decided to remix because I was remastering a bunch of things. So I remixed it again, and I actually added an extra beep in the version that's out there right now. There's actually 2 beeps now, and people just haven't really noticed because they're not really listening like too closely. But the beep is back. It's a little harsher than it used to be, and there's 2 of them now. And I call it the Beepgate Reprise just to be funny.
Yep.
And basically, just remember, I'm screwing around. Like, this is all just fun to me. So I can do whatever I want. Like, I don't have an actual record label telling me what to do. Like, I own the label, so I can just do whatever. So I was having fun.
That's the beauty of it.
That's ultimately what.
All right, so we gave our supporters, those who back us on Patreon or Twitch, to subscribe to us on Twitch. We gave them an opportunity to ask some questions of you. So the first one comes from Goran 1818, and this question is, if you know him, this question comes as no surprise at all. He says, "Can you share any additional information about the Rick and Morty topper?"
The Rick and Morty topper. I can share that it moves, and I've seen it. I saw it today, actually.
Oh.
Today. Like, I saw it. It was a video that I saw, but I saw it today with its lights and its motion. And usually I'm like pretty critical on stuff, and I'm like, oh, we should change this or change that. I had no feedback. It's freaking cool, man. And seriously, target price met, dude. I had no idea Charlie was just going to give away toppers for free. What the hell is that all about?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Seriously, what is he doing?
Classic Charlie right there, right?
He's crazy. He's crazy.
He's crazy. He's giving it away. Crazy Charlie.
He's giving it away. Toppers for everybody. No, it shouldn't be long, though, because I saw a video of a working topper, so hopefully they show that soon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to the spooky social media channels. I'm sure it'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely watch it on Facebook. Charlie posts on Facebook all the time.
Awesome.
And no, I cannot share the video. But Charlie will do
Nice try,
something
V-Hacks.
Yeah.
Right. So the second one comes from the Skip Natty guy that you called out earlier. He says,
oh, that guy.
What's it like writing music for a licensed franchise rather than for an original theme?
Oh, dude. So this is so weird. I didn't expect this at all. So if you guys want to hear some of the music that's already in Rick and Morty, I've already put that out, and no one really said anything about it.
Oh, shoot.
That Rick and Morty teaser video that's out there has the main theme that I remixed in it, and it's in the background of that thing. So go find that video. Somebody, if you can post a link to it somewhere, it's on YouTube somewhere. But that is the main theme with my remix on it. And we submitted that to Cartoon Network along with all the other music that I was writing for the rest of the game and the different adventures and dimensions and stuff. We submitted all that stuff, and they immediately came back to us and were like, "Oh, that's good. Okay." And I'm like,
There you go.
"Like what? Like, did you listen to it all of it?" Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, it's fine." Like what? Okay.
Yeah, because you always hear the horror stories of licensing,
Yeah,
right?
I was
Like, oh, you're
expecting,
supposed
like,
to
to have to
battle me
change
and
stuff.
make me change everything.
I was preparing myself for the worst. Yeah, it's really like Pinball Kiefer's like, yeah, it must be nice. I'm like, yeah, well, I didn't expect it, and I'm just gonna count my blessings, man, because it's fine. I don't know what the heck happened there. So, anyway, so there we go. That's the story of the music.
Excellent. All right. Next question comes from Sergeant Ski. He wanted to know your thoughts about the Spooky Fan Club and how all that played out as far as the sales of Rick and Morty. Did that work out the way you guys thought it was going to?
So this is actually a better question for Charlie, but
That's what I thought.
yeah, but I can shed some light on it a little bit. So the fan club was just a thing so that people could help support Spooky, and they're gonna send out posters and stuff yearly, and then they have like a private YouTube channel or something that they're gonna post things on for people. So Charlie's like, hey, this will be a good thing, like to kind of keep people engaged. It's a good idea. And he goes, you know what? We'll also, when we make a new game, we're going to go ahead and just give them like a 2-week head start on purchasing the game, right? So and Charlie's like, that's a good thing. We'll put it in there. And then people, when Rick and Morty was announced, people are like, oh, crap. Like, you have to be a fan club member, because it got out really fast because it was sent to fan club members, which were just a few people at the time. And then word got around that it was Rick and Morty, and it's for sale now for fan club members, but you have to be a member to do it. So people just started going in and just buying the $45 thing to like just get in to be able to order a Rick and Morty. I think Charlie had no clue that there would be that many fan club members doing that, because like I don't think he ordered enough posters at first, and then he was like, he's like, oh my god, I got to order more posters to send out to people. This is crazy. So so that's basically the fan club thing. I'd like to hear what Charlie has to say about it, though. I think it just took a different turn. He was just trying. We'll see how many people renew it at the end of the year. How about that?
Right. You got to keep the games coming now, right?
We'll see what happens, because it's going to be 18 months of building Rick and Morty. There's not going to be a new game right away. So We'll see what happens.
There you go. Scribble wants to know what your Desert Island album is.
A Desert Island album. Dang, that's tough. Holy crap. Oh, I've been listening to the crap out of that Beck album, the Colors album by Beck. It's really good right now. But I could see myself getting very sick of that on a desert island. So I would probably pick nothing.
There you go.
You cannot have one album for the rest of your life. You will want to destroy it in the first 2 weeks.
There you go.
So unless it's like, wait a second, I got it. Hold on.
Okay.
Ocean sounds and thunderstorms.
On the desert island.
On a desert island.
There you go.
Right. So if it's not thunderstorming and you want to like get some nice rain ambience for sleeping, put on that album. There you go.
Problem solved. We did it.
Dude. Sorry, Scribble. That's a bad answer. But go check out that Beck album. It's pretty good.
There you go. Mixer Tuna asked the question, but Nick asked it earlier. So
yeah,
they're basically the same person anyway. So it's
he's my blonde brother from another mother.
Right.
So I'm glad to see that I'm in good company with Mixer Tuna.
Yeah. And last question's from the girl geek. She says, "What Easter eggs did you sneak into the TNA backlash?"
In the TNA backlash?
Yeah.
Oh, holy crap! There's a whole bunch of those in there. There's a crap in there for TNA.
There's Lion Man in there, right?
What? The what?
Lion Man's in there, right?
Lion Man's in there. We got Spooky Pinball Podcast. I gotta look at the machine. Hold on a second.
All right.
There's a Terry reference in there. My boss Terry, which is pretty funny. There's code from the actual game in the backlash of TNA. Like I screenshotted code, like actual code off for like the reactor core. What else is in there? So the red button that she's holding in her hand. So if you look at the TNA backlash, she's got a red button in her hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, did you do that because of, Pat Lawler does a red button thing all the time? And I'm like, actually, no. It just like, I didn't even know about the Pat Lawler red button until someone pointed it out on TNA. And then I had to do some research. As embarrassing as that sounds, it's like a piece of pinball, like little, very, very like niche trivia. But I didn't know what the red button was.
So we got a great question in chat from Grand National. He asks, how is Rush the Rock better than the original San Francisco Rush?
That's the easiest question I've ever been asked in my entire life. You sitting down for this one?
I'm ready. I'm sitting.
Okay, ready. So Rush the Rock is better because it has more tracks. You can go reverse on the tracks. Well, they're mirrored. They're not reverse. Mirrored. And I think it's got other cars hidden in it, too, when you hit, like, the number 1. I don't think that was in the original.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It might have been, but I don't think it is. So.
And it's got the rock track, which is the best because you can do loops.
Yeah, the rock track is crazy. It's got, like, loops and stuff in it and, like, all sorts of bank curves. And it's a lot of fun. Even, like, so it's hard enough for very good players to play against people who are not really that great because it's just got big swooping turns. A lot of fun.
It's great.
Yeah, always more fun with a friend too.
What's your take on Rush? The other one was it 2049?
I liked 2049. I thought better than Rush the Rock, but after I was trying to find 2049s. Like in all honesty, I was trying to find 2049s to start with, and I couldn't find them. And I'm like, I'll try Rush the Rock again just to see if I like it. So I got 2 of them, and then I decided that I really liked it. So I got 3 more. And then I decided I found some other ones and I got like 4 more. And so I had like all these, but they were like, a lot of them were like really beat up and stuff. So I was like parting out a ton of them.
Yeah.
And I just made 4 really, really good ones that you can see like over my shoulder there.
Yeah.
I made 4 really good ones with all the parts. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. I actually never seen in someone's house 4 Rush the Rocks like side by side. So actually, like when I first put them in and like pushed them in place, I was like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" my wife's just like shaking her head. She's like, "What is wrong with you?"
What's wrong with all of us, really?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I only have 2, so you really went up to me.
So here, check this out. So 2 is the minimum amount, right?
Yeah, you gotta have 2.
Yeah, so 3 is like ideal because it's really fun because you start getting like more and more people in there, and 4 is just like showing off. Like it's just like who the hell has 4? It's stupid. You don't need 4. So 2 minimum, 3 is ideal.
So
4 is a waste of space.
Another question in chatty. VHex asks, is the MagnaSave in Rick and Morty unique in any way?
It is actually. It's unique to modern games anyway because it hasn't been the way it works hasn't been done in a while. This MagnaSave is actually below the wood. I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it because it's below the wood and it's actually around an insert. So there's that picture that you've got up on the screen there, that A insert. Mm-hmm. The magnet goes around the insert, and there's an RGB light stuck up through the middle of the core of the magnet.
Whoa.
Which is cool as hell because that light can flash and do cool stuff when you're clicking the button. Man, that picture of the playfield there is dirt on it. Jeez.
I took this off the Spooky Pinball website.
Wow. I didn't even notice it. Scott might be more OCD than me.
I think
we had a
got
conversation. Yeah.
There's dust all over it. What the hell? It's like someone had the glass off of it. So the MagnaSave works really cool because it doesn't quite grab the ball really hard, right? So it's not like a press the button and it grabs the ball completely and then drops it down the in lane. Like you need to finesse it, right? And a screaming ball going through it is not going to be caught by the MagnaSave. So if it's screaming for the out lane, you're screwed anyway. So if it's coming in there though and it's bouncing around and it's somehow like it's starting to like fall out the out lane, you can tap the MagnaSave and it'll tap it back into play.
Like Jungle Lord.
The button itself is time based and it's not like press it once and it does its own. In complete control of it, it's a skill. And that battery icon that's right next to it shows you how much time you actually have left on the MagnaSave, and it goes down the longer you hold it.
Nice.
It's super fun. And I think it was the way Jungle Lord did it. And I think it was the way the original Black Knight did it as well.
Yeah, I like the approach that Jungle Lord takes, where it's not just hit it and it holds it, because then you're waiting. When it holds it, you're waiting for a second. There's a delay. No, it keeps the pace of the game going, but it's just enough if you finesse it, like you said, to just kind of push it away from the out lane.
Yeah, in this case, in Rick and Morty, you can flick it back in play, and it will go up and over the slingshot back into the middle of the playfield. It's super cool. Yeah, you start getting a feel for it, and you start playing with it a little bit more, and it's a lot of fun. So
that's great. Well, Scott, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the talk show tonight. Where can people connect with you if they want to learn more about you, your games, your music, the things you do at Pinball Life, all that stuff?
Well, you can go to my website, scottdanesi.com. There's contact pages there. There's just all the information about just like things I'm doing. I put posts there. I don't post too much on Facebook anymore. But all my all like the links to like the stuff I'm working on is there. So basically, there it is, scottdanesi.com. That has all the information. I'll keep that website updated as well. So
there you go. Cool. Thanks again for joining us, and
thank you guys.
I can't wait to play the game.
Absolutely, yeah, I can't wait to as well.
All right, take care, man.
All right, see you guys.
All right. So that was fun.
I had a good time. Except when you talked about engineering stuff. I just went to my own little world.
And went to his happy place.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Engineering. Awesome. So it's time to talk about some news.
Here's the tip. It's the latest pinball news. So hot, it's on fire.
All right. So the first thing up is not Rick and Morty. It's Stranger Things. So a lot kind of went down between the last time we talked on the podcast and now. So there's not only Rick and Morty, but also Stranger Things was revealed and released by Stern. The pros are out there already. I mean, it's Brian Eddy's return to pinball design since Medieval Madness. He's come out with it's a similar layout to his most noted games, Attack from Mars, Medieval Madness, fan layout kind of game. It's got 2 ramps. It's got the main kind of toy in the middle with the Demogorgon. There he is. You bash him enough, and then the ramp comes down. And you can smack him in the mouth if it decides to be one of the games where that works. But the kind of the big feature that differentiates this game is the projector. That so there's a projector under the apron area that shoots out onto the playfield on the premium and LE that can light up not only that screen in front of the Demogorgon, but also on the ramps and drop targets, spinners, all sorts of things like that. So I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
I haven't either. I this game, just looking at it, and granted you got to play it, does absolutely nothing for me. And to be fair to Brian Eddy, like, so he was the godfather of like this layout, right? Is that fair? Like, Attack from Mars was original at the time, and it was loved, and then he did it again with Medieval Madness, improved on it, perhaps, however you feel about it. Both great games. Then, like, so many other people copied that layout. So we've had more than 20 years of this layout. So he comes back out with the layout again, pretty much, and it's in some ways unfair to him because we're like, oh, Jesus, this layout again. Well, granted, he's just doing his thing. But I look at this, and back to my question earlier to Scott, like, it does nothing. It just doesn't, like, I'm just kind of sick of that layout. Like, I've got a Metallica, I've got an Iron Man in my collection. I don't need another game like that.
He was kind of in a no-win situation if you think about it, because the people who love those old games would have, and if he came out with a different design, a unique design, something more like the Shadow, they would have been like, oh, we waited 20 years and, we got this weird layout.
Would they though? If it was like, I'd rather him copy the Shadow. I mean,
I'm not saying he would copy the Shadow, but if he did something different, you know what I mean? Like he did with the Shadow, if it was a layout like that.
Yeah. And what you're saying is very valid. And you're right. It is a no-win situation in many ways.
Yeah.
You want to get like a home run, right? So this works. So you're going to put it out there. And if people like the theme, if the rules are good, the sound, then it's going to sell, right? People aren't going to hate they're not going to hate the layout or say the layout doesn't work. They might be in my case where they're like, listen, I've been there and done that. This is boring, but I think sales show otherwise, right? Like Stern keeps on doing it. It seems to be working for them. I don't know how long they can get away with it, but I get what you're saying. I'd rather have seen him do like the Shadow.
Yeah.
And as we talked about with Scott, Keith's been just going out and does his own thing. He makes the game that he wants, and I'm not going to copy another layout. I'm just going to do my thing, right? And it works. People love the 2 games he's put out.
Yep.
So there is room for a unique layout.
Yeah, it's a unique challenge to do interesting playfield layouts with shots that also feel good though, right? So there's like that balancing act of, I want to do something interesting and different, but it can't be a brick fest, or it can't, like, I don't know, hide the ball too much, or whatever the nitpicks are that people have about pinball and how they want it. Because a lot of times folks will say they want interesting layouts or different layouts, but when you give it to them, it's like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I think my ideal is look, you can take things that are reminiscent of other games, but having something in there that's unique, right? Like do something like AFM or Medieval Madness, but put something in there that just feels really unique that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Give us 1 or 2 shots, right? Just something about it that you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting enough.
Right.
And I can appreciate the fact that this has worked in other games. Granted, I can't imagine being a pinball designer, especially when there's so many machines out there and you got to keep on upping the ante. You got to create something that's fun, and then you got to try something that's unique. Well, look, there's things that have been tried that we've never seen before because they just don't work.
Right.
So I get the problem. I can just say that when I look at Stranger Things, like does nothing for me.
Yeah, I'm obviously I'll give it a shot. I'll play it, but I'm not running out and buying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't see gameplay, like flipping the game, being like, oh, this is going to be an amazing game. Now I have to run out and buy it. We'll see. We're going to get a chance to play the LE, hopefully, with our buddy James.
God bless
got
him.
one on order.
Is he getting a Rick and Morty as well?
Yes.
God, I love that guy.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James. You're living your best life, and vicariously, I'm going to live that life with you.
That's right. He's getting an early Rick and Morty too, so we'll be able to play it.
Oh, man, he's great.
Sooner end of things, so we'll be able
He's
to
a
show
benefactor
you
of
guys some
Buffalo
gameplay.
Pinball,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Of our videos.
We
Thank you.
appreciate having him around. All right, so that's Stranger Things. It's one. There's been a lot of talk about it. It's been out for almost a month now, but
I don't think we're getting. I don't think we're getting one for the group either.
So yeah, what was the decision process behind that?
Well, we have been like, look. There's we got a lot of games. We're moving games around, trying to figure out. I mean, there's financial considerations, right? Like just buying every game. We've sort of been in that mode, but I don't think anybody's super excited over that game.
Yeah.
We'll see what comes out next. That's not to say we won't ever get it, but there's not current plans.
Is it like because you bought Monsters and now you're a little once bitten twice shy kind of thing?
Well, I mean, it's a business and it's pinball, and these games aren't cheap, and they're $5,600, right? So how many plays do you got to get? It takes a while, building up the business. So there's that's going on.
It's also like, do you have a spot to put this game?
There's a spot. Yeah, there's a spot. So it's like, okay, what do you sell? Do you sell this game or that game? And then is it worth just going through the hassle of selling a game to buy a game where we're not that excited about?
Right.
There doesn't seem a ton of excitement. Let's see what maybe Stern puts out next, kind of deal.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah, there's always another one around the corner, right?
Yeah, like Jurassic Park was like great. Okay, great
Yep.
game. I played it. It was good. I was like, we gotta get it. It's a good theme. Done.
Yep. Yeah,
But-
no brainer. Shifting, so that's Stranger Things. More to come. You'll see it on the stream eventually. They're on the Jersey Jack front. They just released to beta testers, of which I am one, an update to Jersey Jack Pirates of the Caribbean that incorporates a lot of new gameplay elements for the characters. So, for example, Marty now, when he collects gold, he only drops single coins at a time. So say you get like 50 gold, you have to hit the button 50 times to collect all the gold.
Keeper's going to send you out an extra button when you break that one.
Exactly. So that's just like one of the things. There's like the text file is massive on this. So they've done a lot. And the other really interesting thing is, so during multiplayer games, you could kind of steal each other's characters, right? Now in single player mode, you can change your character.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So you can build up all sorts of strategy with one character and then really cash it out with another one. That's done by hitting the pirate stand up 20 times. So
Yeah.
it takes a longer game because it's not something you do typically. But yeah, it's interesting. So
I listen, I love the thought that's been poured into this game.
Yeah.
I fucking love this game so much. I'm so happy I have it in my collection. Every time I play it, I fall back in love with it.
Yep.
Even before that update, it's awesome. But seeing the updates and the fact that Kiefer goes back and fixes things, balances things, there's so much there. It's just the game. That game is a lifetime keeper because you can just figure out. There's so many ways to play and approach it,
Yep.
which makes it interesting. And it's the best multiplayer game.
Yep.
The only downside is that games can last really long, but at least with maybe some plundering and ball stealing, that will stop that. But I love it. We're gonna do that on Bro soon when with the new code.
Kiefer rightfully points out it's a team effort. So you got Joe Katz and everybody else at Jersey Jack that works on it.
Yes.
Actually, I streamed it like a week ago on the 0.99 code, and I had so much fun playing it that night that night I went on Facebook and I messaged Eric. I was like, "Thank you for making this game. It's amazing."
What was this? The previous update?
Even on the previous code, it was just like
yeah.
I hadn't put a really good session on it in a while, and I just after playing it for 2 hours, that is a great freaking game.
Well, you know, these things are expensive.
Yeah.
You know, whether you get a new Stern, new JJP, and you know, I like to feel good about my purchase, not just like the day I get it, not just a couple weeks later after that. You know, you huff all the fumes from the cabinet, but like, you know, years later to feel like, man, I love this game. And there's still more to discover, and it's a challenge to do that. I get why, you know, some companies just can't dedicate that time and effort, but believe me, as a customer, I appreciate that.
Yep, and I think everybody in pinball appreciates that. So and we told you guys, everybody who missed out on this game,
we told you. We did our part. People call us shills or whatever. The game's amazing. What can I say? I hope they do run more, because the worst thing is that game could go up in value like to $20,000, $25,000. I'm not going to sell it, so I don't want to see that happen. Like I don't want that. I don't want it to go up anymore. It's a keeper. So hopefully they make.
When somebody was when I was streaming it, somebody asked like, "What would it take to get you to part with this?" I was like, I wouldn't, because you wouldn't be able to get another one.
Yeah, I don't want to even entertain that idea, because like I don't want to see it go up. Right. I don't want to play that game.
I can't think of any game that I'd rather have sitting in that spot than that game, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true. It's special.
All right, so more from code updates. We got Jurassic Park. The other game I've been playing the hell out of got an update to 0.97, and that's got a lot of interesting things they keep building in there. I got to Invalid Frenzy on it the other day, which was ridiculous. I put there's like a 2-minute clip of it that I uploaded to YouTube, and it's Nedry going with every switch hit. It's hilarious. So they're doing a great job, really kind of taking that game to the next level too. And that's a game. Somebody was asking me, like, between this and Pirates, where would you rank them? And I said it's up there, but it doesn't quite surpass Pirates, because of, like, Pirates gives you almost an infinite number of ways to play it, right?
Correct.
Between all the characters. I mean, there's always like the base game that you can play, but different scoring strategies, different ways to accomplish the things are there's just more in Pirates.
Yeah.
But both games have great layouts. Both games have multiple ways to approach them. There's like the deeper set of things for the more advanced players to do. So it's a great game, but Pirates beats it out. Sorry. Jersey Jack also released the Wonka manual, so as a PDF, so you can get the PDF online if that's something you were waiting for. If you're a Wonka owner, you can grab that. This should have been the top story of the night. So let's get right to it. So not Stranger Things. We're talking Punny Factory. What's up, pinball players?
Why
it's
is there
Factory.
a match? There's a matchstick with boxing gloves on.
It's got to be a pun of some sort, right?
Fuck, it is. I don't want to know. I'm sorry. I take that back. Why'd I ask that question?
All right, here it is. We're finally seeing the game.
You saved this for me?
I saved this for you.
God bless you.
Amen. Punny Factory.
Well,
So
it's bright. I do like the brightness. You know, this conveys like, oh, this is fun. Come look at me.
yeah, it's got some pop bumpers. There's a bowling pin in the middle.
Yeah.
It's got a truck thing.
3D printed. What the fuck is that? Do you know what that is, Kevin?
I forget what the name of it is.
Okay, that's
your toy in the game, which is basically a drop target with a saucer behind it that kicks the ball into the tube there, and there's the tube that extends out the right. Senior Gonzo tuned out and he came back to Punny Factory. You don't ever know what's coming next in this show. You gotta stick with us. So you can collect punnies. And there
it's
you go.
like I don't know what era of design is this. Do you have a full playfield shot, Kev?
They didn't really have a good full playfield shot.
They did have one when I saw it.
It didn't fit the layout that well. So
I see. Here, get to the truth. There's like I don't think there's a spinner. Like, first of all, this game is very bare bones.
Yeah.
Which is whatever. That's fine. Not for me, but there's like no spinner on it. I was like, somebody's got to introduce these guys to a spinner. I'm pretty sure, unless I missed it. Look, trust me, I did not invest much time into the Punny Factory. All right?
Come on.
Again,
Wayne.
I'm going to put this offer out there. If they want to send us one, we'll stream it.
There you go.
So
There you go.
you want to get your creation out there and prove us wrong. If you think you got something,
Stand
you're like,
behind it.
listen, this game is great. Nick and Kevin couldn't be more wrong. I believe in that so much. I'm going to send them the Punny Factory to play. Prove us wrong.
If they send us one, though, I want the one with the smokestack coming out of the
If
top.
it's
Come on.
fun, I'll say it's fun. I've got no vendetta against the Punny Factory.
Yeah.
What other creations are they working on? They got more themes lined up, don't they?
There's the air travel game, First Class.
Fucking love air travel. About time. About time. This opportunity. Imagine Spooky could have sold 1,000 units if it was based on air
Why are
travel.
they messing around with Rick and
These
Morty?
stupid
when they-
niche themes, you know?
Air travel.
God, this guy's got a gold mine. So he's got Punny Factory, air travel. What else?
Oh, Canada A?
Hope Canada A.
For our friends
Everybody's
north of the
favorite
border.
country.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they love that. They
Yeah.
love that. What else we got?
They have healthcare for all and legal marijuana. What more do you want?
Well, yeah, but what other themes do they have? This got a million themes because it just
have
got like
sushi,
right, left and right coming up with
sushi
themes.
Something crazy sushi game
Yeah,
or
sushi.
something.
Make some sushi.
Sushi chef. There's
Fuck it.
there's
Yeah.
the ninja game.
Yeah, he could do this all day, folks. This guy. These are real themes that are supposed to be made into pinball machines.
Exactly.
People are dying for them.
People are banging down their door for these games.
All right. I like the update. Keep it coming.
There you go. All right, so I got something.
What's
like,
it still says they are further along than Deep Root.
He's not wrong. Well,
They showed stuff though.
Deep Root showed Retro Atomic Zombie Adventureland.
They did.
So they're kind of like at the same level because they both have a game that you can flip, but they haven't published it, and they're promising a whole bunch of other stuff. So they're pretty neck and neck right now.
Okay.
The thing that Deep Root
He also hasn't been talking up the Punny Factory for about like 3 years now.
that's true, and then it's not talking about how easy pinball is and
He's not saying
et
that.
cetera, and building. an
There definitely
auditorium
doesn't
and
have
inviting everyone.
200 new inventions in it. I don't think it has one in the Punny Factory.
No, they're not even trying. They're like, we're not going to say there's any.
He knows his lane. He's like, there you go.
It's a game about jokes.
All right. That's
All
the Punny Factory update.
That's
Tune in next month for more of that.
That is your Pinball Buzz update. All right, so I got something I did that I can show you. We'll start with this. This is the, so I talked about this a little bit last month. Let's interact with this here. So if you go to buffalopinball.com and click on Twitch at the top, and then you scroll down a little bit and you go to, I could play our Twitch stream here and really mess with everything. But if you go to the streaming guides and click on the Stern Direct Capture Guide, this is a way. So if you are a streamer or want to be a streamer and you have the new Stern games with LCD screens, it's kind of a complicated process to capture all of the video directly. Traditionally we used to like point cameras at screens, but that even with the LCD screens nowadays, it makes it hard to see doing it that way. So
Let me ask you, Kevin.
yeah.
How many new boards have you gone through because you broke your thing?
None. I haven't.
You haven't destroyed it yet?
I haven't heard of anybody else breaking theirs yet either.
I heard that they're breaking left and right though by doing
They're
this
really
mod.
not. No. So
Okay.
no pins broken.
All right. Yet.
To be
Yet.
determined. Yeah. Skip Natty got his up and running. No
And
problem.
how many times did he break his?
None.
Weird.
Gamma Goat's got one going in chat. He's in chat. And he's got his going too. So using
Well,
the same
that's-
parts.
All right.
But yeah, so full credit to the folks over at Tilt Forums. They're kind of the collective mind over there came up with and tracked down all the parts for this. I just kind of gathered all of the information and put it in one spot with all the links, screenshots of the parts you have to buy, and then illustrations of where you plug things in and how you have to orient the cables and all that fun stuff, and then how you can route the cable down the bottom. I won't go through it all here because it's very detailed. Everything you need is there to get it done, and then there's even a little video at the bottom that shows how amazing it is. So
Good job.
you can see. Look at that.
So easy.
Yeah, it's so good. Your stream could look that sweet too. Look at that. There you go. All right. So the other thing was, I made a game FAQ like it was the 1990s.
Whoa.
I did.
Yeah,
And
super pinball nerd. You've done it.
I submitted it to GameFAQs.com because it only seemed appropriate for this particular game FAQ. So, I'll give you the backstory on this. So, in Willy Wonka, there's a system of codes. And I don't know. I can't like scroll down this page. Damn it. Damn you, game FAQs. So I'll just have to show it as a screenshot. So there's a system of codes. So you remember Mortal Kombat 3 that had those codes that you could input
That's right.
before the
Yep.
fights? Well, there's a system like that in Willy Wonka. And there's a whole bunch of codes. And folks are discovering them. So if you go to Game FAQs and search for the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory pinball, there's a whole pinball section there. And I put up a guide that has all the known codes so far, how to access the screen to input the codes. And there's also really the motivation for me behind this. There's a Buffalo Pinball code in there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right.
And the code is 14,000 something like that, which was the peak concurrent viewers during the reveal stream. So it's a shout out to a nod to that. And so it puts the Buffalo Pinball logo on there and it puts all our names on there. So really is huge thanks to Joe Katz for putting that in there. It's amazing to be in a pinball machine.
And we learned from that there's a secret character in Pirates, GTP Pirates.
Or is there? There's a code that says, have you found the 23rd character? R. I mean, means there could be one. Maybe there's not.
Well, that's a dick move then if there's not.
Could be like Noob Saibot in the original Mortal Kombat where it talked about him, but he wasn't really in there.
So they did?
The next game.
Okay.
You got to go deep into the Mortal Kombat lore to get through this.
I'm not doing that.
So, the long and short of it is I keep updating this FAQ as more codes are found. There's a thread on Pinside where everybody's kind of throwing new codes. If you find a new code, you can send it to us at talkpinball@gmail.com, and I'll add it to there and give you credit. So if you're playing Willy Wonka, when it shows up is during the bonus meltdown. If you look at the Wonka Vision screen, it'll show the little icons for the candies you have to input for the code. So probably have your phone ready, take a picture, and then figure it out after that. So that's how you find the new codes. We want to get them all. There's actually some cool stuff as far as you can enable reverse flippers or reverse upper flippers, and so there's stuff that'll impact gameplay and stuff.
It's wacky,
crazy Joe Katz kind of stuff. So there you go. What else? Oh, I got an update from our friends at Multimorphic. Jerry said that they recently announced they're giving a 2-year warranty on the P3 machine and its parts.
That's good.
He said
solid.
that should be the industry standard, which
it's good.
Who can argue with that?
Who's going to argue with that?
beats the 60-day Stern warranty you get, right? I mean, they honor stuff beyond that, but by the letter of the manual,
you want it. I mean,
60
it
days.
feels good having it written out, right? Not will they, won't they?
Right. For a machine you're spending $8,000 on.
Sure.
And they also he says you can tease this. He promises big game related things coming soon. So
All right.
that's a teaser. All right. Here's a fun thing that is going to warm your heart. So we got to switch back over here, and we got to go past Punny Factory. Look at these kids. This is submitted to us from Danny T in Virginia Beach. These are his kids, Sarah, Rise, Cooper, and Julie. They're all fans of the show, despite Nick Lane's foul mouth.
Yeah. God bless them. That's,
Yeah, he wrote
Start
it.
them early is what I say.
He said, my kids wanted me to email you guys and let you know that one of their favorite presents from Santa this year, amongst new bikes and Chromebooks and AirPods, were the sweet new Buffalo Pinball. He calls them jackets from Double Danger. I assume that's because they're in Virginia Beach and this is what you wear as a jacket in Virginia Beach. Because up here it's just like something you wear underneath the thing that actually keeps you warm.
Yeah, it's true.
But they're the hoodies if you can't see it, if you're listening to the podcast. He says you should have seen their faces when they saw them. It was kind of funny with all the other stuff Santa left that they ran to these jackets. And man, Santa was cool enough to bring one for Dad too. Anyways, they wanted me to take a picture and send it over, so here it is. They've been playing the heck out of Jurassic Park lately, and my oldest son, 9, almost topped 100 million. He got 98 million tonight, so he was excited and wanted to tell you guys. So
Awesome.
there you go.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that with us.
They have great taste in pinball machines too. Look at that. Jurassic Park and Dialed In.
There you go.
It's 2 winners back there. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So that brightened my day. Thanks to Danny for sending that in and for supporting the channel. 5 hoodies. That's awesome. That's a heck of a Christmas. All right. Quick shout out. Congratulations to Eric Stone. He's the new IFBA World Champion. He took down all comers in the Open at the IFBA World Championship at the Open. Congratulations to Eric. And then we just have some Buffalo updates.
Yeah, well, this does pertain to everybody, our listeners and viewers. We've got the North American Pinball Battle, USA versus Canada. This is the fourth one coming up this Sunday, January 26th at noon Eastern. And that's going to be streamed live from the Barrel Factory in Buffalo, New York. Canada's coming to us this year. We kind of switch every year. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, Team USA, I'm very sorry to report, is 0-3. Now, here's the deal. Every year, it's been a very good match, and it's come down to the final round. Mm-hmm. So last year was probably the most heartbreaking because we lost on like the last game. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't lose again.
This is our year. I feel
I cannot lose again. Mm-hmm. I cannot do it. So we're gonna have to win.
This might be the last one ever. If we're
gonna have to win.
Because if we lose 5, then we're worse than the Bills, and we can't have that.
This is something. But isn't it a Buffalo thing to lose?
Yeah.
Isn't it Buffalo? There's nothing more Buffalo than losing, or even like the promise of winning, only to have a dash to the last minute. Exactly. That's very Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Like I said, we'll be streaming that. It's always fun. It's kind of lighthearted, good competition. They're a great group of folks from Canada, even though they beat us all the time, and I hate them for it. But we're happy to do it, and I'm looking forward to it.
There you go. The other thing is if you're local or you want to be local or you're thinking about moving to Buffalo within the next week or two, you can sign up for our team league, right?
They can, yeah. They can totally sign up for the team league. It's coming up, what is it, February 7th? Is that a Wednesday? Let's say it is.
It is. You got to sign up by the 1st, though.
Yeah, so get it in. People love the team league. It's a huge hit. Retention's great. It's competitive but super casual. Would you say it's fun competition, Kevin?
I would say it's fun competition, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sign up for that. And it's free. You just got to coin up the games.
There you go.
I mean, move out to Buffalo. Listen, Buffalo's making it happen.
We're looking good.
We are looking good. Okay, what else we got going on?
Flip Frenzy Fridays.
Oh, yeah. Again, more Buffalo. I mean, you're into Buffalo, you know this stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, for some strange reason, you're not on our Facebook. Flip Frenzy Friday is the first Friday of every month.
Yes. Barring any like holidays.
Well, Nick, whatever, he changes it left and right. It's at Resurgence
towards
Brewing.
The beginning of the month.
That's fun. 2 hours Flip Frenzy tournament.
Yeah,
boom.
So
there you go.
Get pizza and play pinball. All right. So that's the end of the news. Let's talk about game room updates. Nick actually has a game room update. I'm gonna let him lead.
Oh my God. Oh, I forgot how to do this. It's been so damn long that I have a real legit pinball game room update.
You kept us hanging on for another month too. You really stretched this one out.
Well, this is back in November after we reviewed Deadpool.
Yep.
I don't know, got kind of like a bug stuck in my mind. I mean, this is maybe back in October, but I was like, man, I do kind of like that game. It's a good game. Mm-hmm. I think I need to mix up my lineup. And also it helps that Kevin got like Jurassic Park. And I say mix up my lineup. I've been getting a game every year pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So
that's a good
But some games are like stale. Like so Iron Man, which is a game I said I would never sell. I had to be honest with myself. I don't play it that much. I'm not interested in that much. I've seen it. I've played that game probably well over 1,000 times. Easy.
You've done all the things.
Had it for almost 10 years.
Yep.
Done all the things except for like do or die multi-ball, which I don't go for that. Like I've made peace with myself. So I was going to sell that. I put it up actually for sale. I think Martha knew I was not messing around, so she bought it. I gave her a good deal on it. So Iron Man is still there. That thing is never leaving apparently because I don't think she gets rid of games. She loves that game.
But she likes impersonating the manga.
Yeah. So Iron Man's there, and I got Deadpool now. So win-win. We didn't get rid of any games. We moved Countdown into like the laundry room area. I have a problem selling games now. Like I legit do, especially the classic ones.
Because Martha always buys them.
Well, yeah, but also like the classic ones, you're not gonna. You have a harder time getting those back too. You got to figure out something like storing on play. I don't know. I've reached that level like achievement in my pinball thing where now they're just coming in. So yeah, listen, I'm really happy with Deadpool. I'm really happy with it. I can tell in that game that Stern and the team that designed it, George Gomez and all the other folks, they had a good time with that game. Like they had some creative freedom, and you can tell it. I mean, it shows in that game, and it's like what we were talking about earlier. There's some things reminiscent of a George Gomez game. You got like the ramps from like Johnny Mnemonic shot, great shot, right? But then you've got that unique turnaround lock shot, which is a little bit like Avengers, but way better and super satisfying.
Way better.
You've got the turnaround, the Colossus shot that turns around, flips around, and hit a target. You got the snicked target that we didn't even talk about this in the interview, where if you shoot that center spinner, if you can bank it off the snick target and get to go up the ramp, then it will times the playfield multiplier. Like, I fucking love that. So this is not like a radical, weird design because it's got some straightforward elements, but it's got unique shots that make it its own game. And between that, which keeps it interesting, the good art, the great video, the fun that they had with the call-outs, the music, like you can tell this was a passion project, and it's worth my money. Right? That's when I spend money on a game because I step up to. I'm like, I really appreciate what they did to this game. I love it, and it's a lot of fun. So, Skip Natty warned me. He told me to get Jurassic Park because it's going to be too easy, but I mean, maybe Skip's just a way better player than me, or it's how I set my games up. But I've not gotten to the third wizard mode yet. I got to like the first one.
Okay.
So I'm also not the kind of player that I sit there and grind it out until like I get there. If I'm being completely honest, I think sometimes I don't want to because I don't want to.
I find myself doing that too.
I know subconsciously I think I hold myself back because I don't want to beat the game right now. Right. And then ruin it in the first week and they like suck with it because I'm not going to sell it in like I'm not a person who sells it like a month later kind of deal. So that game is going to hold on to it for a couple years, and I'm really happy with that purchase. I would go back in my rating and give it a 9 week, which is a buy it because I went out and bought it, and I think it's definitely a 9 out of 10. It's an almost perfect game.
Yep.
It's hard for me to be honest. It's hard for me to find fault with that game. Other than maybe it's sitting in my home collection, it will become too easy and I get to the end. But there's still 3 levels of wizard mode.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Skip got to the third one.
No, he did.
The third Sinister.
Yep.
Well, then he's great.
This is the guy that Scott Danesi is making a rule for.
That's true. One thing that I found is that I changed this on my game because by default it awards extra balls way too easy, and it also scales like. So I decided it had to be at like 30. What is it? 30 weapons collected. Because sometimes it would hand out if you get 8. Like so, every game you get like an extra ball, and like that's when it became like okay, I could see this loop of it just becoming too easy. So I tried to balance it out in a way that was fun and challenging.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a great game, and I've been over a couple times to play it, and I definitely appreciate it. And the only thing that I would say, you said you couldn't find fault with it. The only thing is it does not have like a ball interactive toy of some sort. Like there's no like
it's true
real like there's no
there's no real toy.
There's no
I agree.
Ship or something.
That's why I think that it's definitely a 9, right? It's not gonna go up in there. Siggy Sour says, "I'll buy your Monsters, Nick. I'll have you know I do not fucking own that game. I would never own a Monsters, and I don't appreciate you saying that or implying that I would own a Monsters. It's the business one does have one on location, but I whatever. Actually, it makes money for us.
There you go.
So
that's what counts.
That's all. That thing is just there to make money. All right. No emotional attachment to any of those games.
And there you go. That's for a business. That's all you need. All right. So my game room updates. I thought about it. I was like, this was quite a month. So
fucking Kevin Manny. I had my time in the sun. I had to sit around all year, and here we go. Okay, go ahead.
Mine's stupid though. Wait you
got a stupid one?
So, the Adam, the guy that was he loans me games once in a while. His Walking Dead was here. And he sold it because he wanted to get Hobbit, which I can get behind because that's a great game. But so is The Walking Dead. So he came and picked that up. And then I had an empty spot in my lineup. And then I went out and bought an Airborne, which I knew had a couple little issues with. But I'm like, I can figure that out. Hauled it home, cleaned it up a little bit. I swapped out. It had LEDs in it, which are really annoying in Capcom games. So Airborne is a Capcom game from the 90s, a DMD game. And their boards do not handle LEDs well. You can get an LED OCD for it, but I wasn't getting into all that. So I dropped some incandescent bulbs back in it. It had a shooter. The shooter mechanism was kind of like sticky, so I cleaned it and replaced it.
God only knows what Brian did to that thing.
I don't even know. Got that working well. A couple other little things, like there was a screw that popped off here or there or whatever. But then I was streaming it the next day because I picked it up on a Sunday and I got it into playable condition, so I streamed it on Monday, and then like all the optos started acting up and being really weird. Thinking there was a ball locked when there wasn't, kicking extra balls into play, starting multi-balls, stuff like this, and I'm like, I looked for some information, and I'm like, this is beyond my level of repair. And thankfully, Brian, the guy that I bought it from, he really wanted the game back. So I was like, just give me my money back. I will give you your game back. He took his game back. And so I got rid of Walking Dead left. I bought a Airborne, sold an Airborne, and now maybe have another game on the way, but it's not 100% yet. It's not a lockdown yet, so I don't want to say it yet, but soon, fingers crossed, and it'll be fun for the stream, and stay tuned for more.
All right.
And that is it. Oh, the other thing I got here, I can demonstrate this for people who are watching.
I haven't even seen this yet.
Here you go. So
Let's see.
hang on, wait for it. So if I go in here and I go, well, I can do that first, and then I go, where is it? Yeah, this one.
This is really exciting. I'm going to describe for the listeners. Kevin is playing with his phone.
Wow.
Whoa. There you go. Look at that. Kevin changed the lighting scheme of LED lights in his game room. Looks good.
So I have track lighting with these weird like AU10 bulbs in them, and they're all super expensive. Like if I were to get the Philips Hue version, it would be $50 a piece times 12 to do my room. And I was able to track down some on Amazon that were not ridiculous. They so they're all Wi-Fi and app enabled. I can control them with my Google or my Amazon Home dealio. I'm not going to say the name of it so I don't activate people's devices. But it's awesome, and it's perfect for when you want to have arcade party time during league night. And I'm going to put it on once league plays over.
Yeah.
And it's cool. So I highly recommend getting some sweet lighting for your game room, because it's about the ambiance in the room, not just the
100%.
games. So
Yeah,
there
you want to go for that arcade vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. So get some synthwave going and turn the neon lights on.
That's right.
There you go. That's going to wrap it up for this month of Brody Even Talk Pinball. We're coming back with the 4-year anniversary next month. It's the 5-year anniversary of Brody Even Pinball
Next Thursday,
week.
yeah. 5 years. Been streaming for 5 years.
Yep.
Watch us age. Go back and look at that.
Dude, I went to the thread of this this podcast, and I looked at my beard from when I started versus the amount of gray that's in it now, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, touch of more than touch of gray.
Yeah, there's
They make products to fix that.
There is.
You can shave years off your life.
we need to get Just for Men for
That's right.
sponsor for the podcast.
Them and New Balance.
Fall right in. Get some mom jeans in there too.
All
right. Follow us on social media if you don't. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube if you want to catch archives of the stream. And you can hang out with us on Discord. You can talk to Jay every once a month when he shows up in there.
No, that's exciting.
Yeah. There's a new channel. There's a Topper Talk channel for Gore and a Spinball to talk about toppers.
If you're not asleep yet, there you go.
If you need that, there you go. You can email us if you got questions, feedbacks. If you buy hoodies for your kids and you want to show us pictures, you can send it to talkpinball@gmail.com. You can support the channel on Patreon or by subscribing to us on Twitch.
Patreon's going away.
Oh.
I put out to pasture.
Okay.
Yeah.
By Patreon.
So if you want to support us, we're just going to keep it simple. So the best way to do it is to subscribe on Twitch. If you listen, I don't do Twitch at all, but I want to help you guys out, then you can just PayPal us at buffalopinball@gmail.com. There you go. Nice and simple.
Boom.
I got rid of the Patreon. Well, Patreon started because it was kind of requested. You guys should do a Patreon, so we did. But Patreon's the kind of thing that you honestly should be monitoring, unlocking special content in terms of my philosophy is if I can't do a good job with something, then I'm not going to do it at all. And it was feeling like that with Patreon. So we just jettisoned that. We're going to focus on this. So we really appreciate the support. It means a lot to us. Like I said, we've been going strong for 5 years, and it's because you guys support us.
Yep.
And there's an interest. You help us get equipment and buy equipment. We upgrade, and we do that. We're going to keep on kicking ass thanks to you guys. So.
Yep. So, and if you have Amazon Prime and you don't use your Twitch Prime sub, you can give it to us. It goes us full $5 a month.
No,
well,
$2.50
because Jeff Bezos has to take his cut, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. Bottom line.
That's
if you want to take money from Jeff and give it to us,
that's right.
Do that. And if you want to support us in a non-monetary way, reviews on iTunes are always good. 5 stars if you're nasty. There you go. All right. So until next month, have a good one. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
And we'll see you next time.